This is that original diode. It's a funny little package, isn't it? It's like a kind of looks like a bout. And it would have been difficult to find that fault without that tip from thingy, because if you measure this diode, forward voltage 1.36 volts, it looks like it's alright, but it was like 1.2 when I was measuring it before. But I've been through my box of diodes and I've found 1N4937, and I've soldered a pair of them together. And that's should fit that thing. If we measure this, diode 1.14. Using this diode out of its normal, how it normally be used, because looking at data sheet for this, it's spec'd at like, for forward voltage, it's spec'd at like an amp. Don't gear it in like milliamps and stuff. We'll have to measure voltage across that across these resistors, because this is current source for it here. It's this like bootstrap capacitor here. There's this bootstrap current source. So that if you measure thing across this 100 ohm resistor voltage drop, then you see how much current's going into it. That's that fusible resistor I've taken out, and they were still using this same type of one in Euro 4 chassis in late 90s. These are ones that I've got, but the same rating. So run it again and keep an eye on voltage across that diode. .4445. It's staying fairly stable. You expect like it to drop as thing goes up as it gets hotter. Well, that's what you want it to do to maintain thing, but as long as it's like when transistors at its hottest, it's not, as long as it's not like thermal runaway, then you're alright. It looks to be like slowly dropping. 1.43. .42. Right, potentiometers have turned up. I'm going to put this in that vertical linearity thing where I've got them fixed resistors at the minute. It's a 5k one where that other one's 4.7, but it's a bit close enough. I'll just set it to the middle as a rough thing, because that went middle and it looked right enough, and I can tweak it later. There it is installed, and I think what I'll do next, I'll give it a good run for like an hour or something. Just make sure that thing doesn't overheat again, don't blow that resistor. Right, well I ran it for a while and that resistor opened, so I think it's getting over biased, getting thermal runaway. I mean, it was strange because it didn't cut out while it were on. It were alright, and I turned it off and then I turned it back on and it got that frame collapse again. So what I've done, I've made it like this, that diode, so that one there can be in contact with heatsink that transistor's on. Hopefully that'll be enough to keep it out of thermal runaway. If not, I might have to like rejig it again so that both of them are touching heatsink, but it's going to be hard to get that other one too. But this seems to work quite well. I've just tried putting it in, I've not soldered it in or out, but in terms of it like mechanically get it into holes, and that's sort of pressed up against heatsink, but it's not like an electrical contact or anything, so it's not shorting out. I'm going to put it in and give it a try. Turn it on and keep an eye on voltage on this diode. Linearity coil makes a racket. Could always like dampen that somehow. Let it run for a bit and then I'll measure it again. It's quite hot now. It's gone down a little bit, but not very much. It's 1.4. Doesn't seem to be like tracking it very well. Pretty hot. Starting to get a bit of a like resistory smell. Picture's still alright. And it's coming down slightly. Not very much. It's like come down from what it were when it were cold. So I suppose it is. I don't know if things getting hotter or not though. Heatsink's pretty, like you can hardly touch it now. 1.37. Seems to go up when you're measuring it, but I don't know if that's just this meter or something, I don't know. Maybe need to like try and get both diodes touching heatsink so they both reduce the voltage drop. I mean, it's like this diode, I picked it because it had a low forward voltage. Doesn't seem to go down much beyond like below 1.38. Oh, that's getting to that. See whether it blows this fuse and turn it off. Yeah. Turn it off and then like back on again. That fuse goes. Oh, that resistor. What I think I'm going to have to do is try and find some way of having both of these diodes in thermal contact, or maybe try a different type of diode. I'll have to have a look into it a bit more.